right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Woo. This is Drive Safe Dave, along with a super special, uninterrupted, wow, boss of all bosses, the king of the kings. What's going on over there, Scott Shapiro?
You know, whatever is in that coffee, I need some. How are you so wired?
You know what?
It's 7 o'clock.
I'll tell you, honestly, I was on the phone at 5 a.m. this morning talking to a customer at 5 a.m., and they were not happy with Drive Safe Dave. So I had to be on my A game to level it out. I had to, go to them and give them that, hey, what's up? And then, it all came out in the end. They were happy with me. They actually think I'm fantastic, and they definitely want to know what kind of coffee I was drinking too. They asked the same question.
So getting annihilated this morning has changed your mood into
exactly.
You're in a great mood now.
Exactly. So what's going on, producer? I didn't want to leave you. I'm not saying that you're not there. I didn't want to make sure. How are you doing this morning? You having a good morning?
Yeah, no, I'm doing all right. You don't always got to check on me. I'm just running the board back here. It's okay. I'm okay. I promise.
We want to check on you, though. It doesn't seem right if we don't throw you a bone. You know what I mean? It seems like it's not fair if we do throw you a bone. Scott, did you see what came down the pipe yesterday from SCOTUS?
No.
Supreme Court of the United States. Did you see what came down?
I did not.
The ruling of the Supreme Court yesterday struck down that Biden ideology of mandatory shots for businesses over 100. They said negative. It's not going to happen. They did, however, uphold. They kind of split it. They said if you are medical personnel, you are obligated to be safe, and you are obligated to be vaccinated in order to be in the medical profession. However, they did say other businesses, private businesses, remember they said, Biden said any private-owned company with over 100 people, Supreme Court said you can't do that. You can't mandate for privately owned businesses like that on what to do. So that is struck down. So that is no longer an issue, and it is no longer a mandate that's going to take place on the 22nd of January.
Take a guess on how many calls I got about that from drivers.
27.
Probably close.
Yeah, because
it was definitely a concern. I mean, it's great. It's good news. There's probably, I think it was probably realistically, I probably had 10 or 15 guys that were, company guys that were considering going owner operator or making a change because of that.
Ruling, because of that mandate. Yeah, it is going to be. What it does, it definitely, I'm glad for a lot of reasons, because I didn't want people to leave the industry. I didn't want people to not go to work. Right now, we already had a very stressed and difficult supply chain, but this gives everyone, it is what the ruling said. Biden did say he was disappointed in the ruling, but you know what? That's why we have a balance of powers. The executive branch cannot be we have 3 powers in our government, and the Supreme Court said not going to happen. So what do you think? I mean, I'm just curious. On your side of the fence, you're glad, right? I mean, are you glad? You sad? What do you think?
That's a tough thing to say. I mean, I'm glad. I'm happy for in our industry. I'm happy for the drivers that felt pressured that they had to make that change, and I'm glad that they don't. They're not going to be forced into making a decision that they didn't believe. I mean, some people believe in the vaccination and some don't, and for whatever reason, being forced into doing it and forcing them out of an industry that they've done all their life, I'm happy for them.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I get it. This was such a divisive. You're either on one side or the other in this. I've had several discussions with people, and I try to dissuade them. But you know what? People have pretty much drawn a line in the sand when it comes to this topic for whatever reason, on vaccinations, on what they're going to do and how they're going to approach this disease. And you know what? I understand fully. I definitely swayed towards what I believe, but in an argument, you've got to allow the other individual to make their own decision. And truly, in a good, positive argument, you've got to, if you can't sway them, you've got to accept their choice. And I think that's where we are in this, and we've got to accept what was made. And the Supreme Court did the United States a big favor in stepping up and making this decision. I think what it does is it creates this ability to move forward and go on. I did see yesterday that infections are up, that hospitalizations are up.
They just
People are
closed. I don't know if you know this, but they just closed our school district, Mansfield ISD School. They closed it for 5 days. They're shut down till next Tuesday.
wow.
So they reported 750 cases with students, 195 with teachers.
It's going like crazy. It's
So
running rampant. Yeah.
800
What you got, producer?
I was gonna to add to that. One of my friends works at the school district that I went to high school at, and I was talking to him yesterday, and he said that out of the entire school district, they had same thing, about 600 kids who were out. He was one of 5 teachers in his entire school that did not test positive, and so they have shut down the school district until next Wednesday, and it's really going around like crazy. I mean, I don't know why schools are getting hit so hard right now, but
You know, you put things in perspective because my wife last night, she's like, well, that's 750 kids. It's a lot. I said, yeah, it's a lot, but how many kids are in Mansfield? You know, it's 35,000 kids in Mansfield School District, so it was less than 1%. But when you take almost 200 teachers out of the equation, I mean, who's left to?
Yeah, and
to
then
teach
all
these
you're doing
kids?
is you're putting more students in a classroom, and you're just compounding the deal. I really truly believe that there's a couple of things going on here in this Omicron. It is spreading quickly. I mean, it's so contagious. I truly believe that we're all at some point going to get it in some way, shape, form, or fashion. How you get it and what you've done to, like, whether you've taken the vaccine. And I'll tell you, I am really surprised that there's no getting past this one. I mean, this is going to sweep the country, and all you can do is prepare yourself for it. I am. They started at the beginning of the year. There were so many school districts that were going to open up, and they did open up, and now they're closed all over the country. It's not just here in Mansfield. It's all over the entire country. The largest schools in the country are having to close because of the amount of people that are being infected. And they're saying right now, I understood that if you plan on traveling, like by plane, and you plan on going somewhere, you're probably going to get it. You might as well prepare yourself because you're going to be around people, and you're going to get in you're going to get in a box.
Well, the funny thing is that Michelle and I were trying to plan some time off before we lose our hours, and so we going through the calendar. I'm like, all right, we'll take this weekend. I'm like, what do you want to do? I said, let's go to New York. So
Oh yeah.
So I get
throw a dart.
Hey, listen to this. I get online. I'm like, the tickets are $48 round trip.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's $48. She goes, yeah, you know why it's $48.
Exactly.
So that's probably not happening.
Yeah,
why.
I think it doesn't matter where you go right now or whatever you do. I think that it is a good idea that we all do what we can to protect ourselves and be prepared to isolate if we do get sick, right? If we do get sick, be wise. Don't just run out. If you got a cough and you don't feel well, I know it may be a cold, but I'll tell you, with a great thing about this new technology and these new rapid test kits that they've got, I was thinking about it. I was listening to an expose, and you know what? It makes sense that if you can get a test quickly, you know now if you're infected, not one that 2 days later.
Right.
I mean, that's the most ridiculous thing. That isn't even, I look back at the way we were attacking this disease before, we were getting these tests, and it was taking 2 to 3 days, sometimes 4 days. That is so ineffective. Yeah.
well, the problem now is you just can't find them anywhere. I mean, I went in yesterday to a CVS just to pick up a prescription, and it was the same line inside as you get tested at or whatever. And the line was all the way across the building, and the outside cars were going crazy, and you can't find the at-home tests anywhere, and so
Yeah,
it's becoming
crazy.
a bit of a problem.
They're trying to pump them out. I think, and I want to tell you that some of the at-home test kits were gobbled up by the United States. They're going to provide 5 million of them to the United States school district. So I believe that a lot of them have not hit the shelves. They're being scooped up by the United States government and allowing them to be handed out to the school districts across the country so that they can do rapid tests right there in the school. So I understand what's happening. There's only so many, but I do know that they doubled their production by millions in October. They've tripled them by December, and they're trying to quadruple them, the production of those kits, by January. So the amount of test kits that are being created are huge. It's just the demand for them has outweighed what they can produce.
I'm over it.
What I agree. I mean, we're all tired. We're all frustrated.
Just worn out.
But we've got to realize it's here. I mean, it's here. It's something that we're going to have to live with, right? I mean, we're all going to have to be aware of what happens and understand it matters, right? That you try to stay away from people. It matters that you wash your hands. It matters that you do, because you don't want to infect people that you care about. You don't want to infect people that you love. And isolating a little bit is not a bad thing right now. I don't know. And you have a daughter in the Mansfield school system, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's home now, right?
Yeah, she's home.
Are they doing homeschooling, or
Nope.
are they just?
Nope.
Are they just off? Hey, spring break early.
Just off. In Nashville, Mansfield's kind of funny. I wouldn't be shocked if they just add on the days at the end of the year.
Of course they will. They have to for the funding. Yeah, they have to get for their federal funding. They have to have a certain number of days in order for them to get a certain dollar amount. And I guarantee you, they're not trying to cut that dollar amount one iota, because if they do, they can't afford to pay the big executives in the school board, right? I mean, it's not the teachers they're trying to pay.
Maybe all fun and games now, but when all these days are getting tagged on.
So I have a question for you. If you're a high school student and they've canceled your school for a month, 5 days, and you have a car, are you hanging out at the house? Are you hooking up with your friends? I mean, are y'all going to do stuff? I mean, I just want to know what you're thinking, what I'm thinking.
My daughter's not going anywhere. She's staying home. She's staying home.
All right, I'll tell you what. We're going to come back in just a few minutes. We got the Sergeant Major Jorge Bonilla on a line. We are going to come back here and interview him in just a second about a little bit of what's going on in Europe. You know, some of my Eastern Europe, a little bit of my fun talk about what's going on in politics. We'll be back in just a second. Hey, everybody. It's Drive Safe Dave here with BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. As you know, winter is upon us, and with winter comes some difficulties and challenges. Now, if you live below or running below that 20 or I-10 corridor, you may not feel that pressure, but if you do, let's talk about a few little tips that we have. Tip number one, let's make sure we get over here and we drain these air tanks. Let's get that moisture out of there so that we make sure, because moisture and freezing cold temperatures don't mix. All they make is ice. Tip number two, remember when air temperature drops, so does pressure in these tires. You want to make sure that when you enter into or near cold temperatures, you make sure that your tire pressure is and cold pressure stays correct throughout these cold temperatures. You want to be safe out there, because this is where the rubber meets the road. Tip number three, if it's extreme weather and extreme cold conditions, you may want to make sure that you use an anticoagulant or an anti-gel inside the diesel fuel so that it thins and doesn't gel up on you in the lines or anywhere else. Tip number four, as you know, when you enter into the West, there are certain regions that require you to have snow chains and or snow socks in that region. Make sure that you carry them. And tip number five, I'm going to give this one to you as a freebie. Carry with you a little bit of cat litter in your truck. That way, if you get a little bit stuck, or if you get near a region that doesn't have a lot of grip, you can throw that down and give your truck that needed oomph to get out of those sticky or slippery situations. For more pertinent and safety information, you can always tune in Monday through Friday, Central Standard Time between 7 and 8 a.m. and get that needed information on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. All right, everybody, and welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. We have on the phone Sergeant Major Jorge Bonilla. How are you doing, Jorge?
Hey, good morning, Dave. How are you?
Doing well.
Happy New Year.
Did you make it through the holidays okay and everything fine?
Yeah, everything went well. Unfortunately, Miami here during the holidays is pretty crazy, but it was great.
You know what? That sounds about right. Miami in the holidays. That sounds like, that South side. What is that? South Beach. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm out here in Fort Worth, so probably a little bit different mindset, but that does sound like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Weather obviously awesome. Even this time of year, probably not bad, right?
No, right now, yes, today's the coldest day of the year so far. It's 55 degrees, so we're enjoying it. I think we're putting on our socks and our sandals.
Putting on socks today.
Yeah, maybe a scarf.
Maybe a scarf. You're gonna put on a scarf? Well, okay, Sergeant Major, I think we called you in because there's a couple of things going on in the world today that make that I guess get some perspective, your perspective on what's happening out there, because a lot's happening in Eastern Europe right now, and
Right.
we see it on the news, and people don't realize that's the front edge of the NATO alliance, right up there against the old Warsaw Pact, and it has a big effect on what we do. Our even what goes on in the Ukraine matters. What goes on in the United States. I mean, people. I mean, it's hard to explain that we're a global community, and even what happens there matters. What happens here, right?
Yes, for sure, for sure. And the Middle East. I'm sorry, Central Europe specifically. I mean, there's a lot going on in Central Europe. There's a lot of the natural resources coming out of there. There's a lot of the alliance, of course, the countries that are allied with the NATO and U.S. Even if they're not a NATO force, but I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal what's going on there, and obviously, the United States is looking at that very closely.
So what's really going on right now in the Ukraine is there's a mass buildup of Soviet troops, Russian troops. Can't really call them Soviet troops anymore. Russian troops aligned on the border of the Ukraine in a poised situation for an imminent attack. And what's concerning about that is, um, you know, they're a sovereign nation, and they're actually an ally of the United States. Um, and Soviet Union says that they're there because of what they perceive as a threat by NATO. And is this in what you're is this buildup? Are they posturing? Do you believe they're just posturing to get what they want? Are they performing genuine exercises to make us stressed out on the situation? Do you believe there is imminent invasion? And if so, what does that mean for the United States?
Right. I think you hit all the spots really well. I'm not going to say whether Russia will or will not. I mean, that analysis. I mean, everybody can argue that point at this time. Right now, obviously, Russia is being the big dog, being the big country. They want to become dominant, not only in Europe but in the world. And of course, they want to take little by little some of the countries that were part of the Soviet Union at one point, beginning with Ukraine, Belarus. So right now it's they want to demonstrate, they want to call it an exercise, they want to call it whatever they want to do, but at the end of the day they want to have Ukraine back in the Soviet Union. Ukraine obviously doesn't have any interest in that. They want to stay away from that. They want to become part of a NATO alliance. Russia's biggest push is for Ukraine not to become part of NATO, because then that will make them stronger. Right now, Ukraine is considered by Russia a weaker country. They don't have any alliances to NATO, although they do have a big alliance to the United States. The United States has a lot of assets in Ukraine, a lot of interest in Ukraine, so they're not going to just allow Russia to come in there and bully themselves and take away Ukraine.
So we have a map up of the Ukraine area here. I just wanted to show it so people understand. It's just north of the Black Sea. It actually has a warm water port. It's not landlocked, but it borders Russia. And what's very interesting is to the west is all NATO countries of the Ukraine, and to the east is Russia itself. So they are kind of the buffer right there. And if Ukraine becomes a NATO country, a North Atlantic Treaty Organization country, it will truly border Russia, and I think they're a little concerned about that. We, as the United States, want the Ukraine to be, if they want to join NATO, they're more than allowed to. We don't want to restrict them. So there's a lot of demands that I truly believe that they're doing. I don't think Russia does anything without a plan. They're very good at strategy. They're very good at global ideology. They're very good at it. I'm almost, I wouldn't put it past them to use this as a posturing mechanism to get what they want in the region, and maybe not invade, but use this to get certain things. With even the threat of invasion is enough to wake everybody up.
That's correct. And I mean, if you see what's going on simultaneously in China and Taiwan, two big powers
Absolutely.
bullying two smaller countries, and of course they're having a fun time with it because they know that the United States can't be at two places at one time or whatever, or it'll be a stressful situation for the United States if both big countries invade the smaller countries. That's happening right now, and one of the reasons why Russia continues to push and push and push, and it's obvious for those obvious reasons because they can. But the United States has sanctioned them, particularly the higher government officials and military officials, to include Putin and some of the banks. So hopefully those little things will work. Obviously, it will escalate as Russia continues to push. But we'll see. Right now, we're just watching this through a magnifying glass.
Yeah, I now the deal with Taiwan, we actually have military advisors. We actually have a contingency on the island of Taiwan, but here we don't really have any military presence in the Ukraine. Do you see us militarily doing anything, or are we just aid and like just an aid or an observer? You don't see us if something happens. You don't see us. I'm just asking. You don't see us becoming active role in their defense of Ukraine. Do you, besides economic sanctions?
I believe the biggest role that NATO will take the biggest role on this. Obviously, the United States is part of NATO, but I mean the other countries in Europe, because they have a more impactful and invested interest in the region, and they don't have any need for Ukraine to become part of the Soviet Union. So NATO will, if anything, any military structure will be employed against Russia at this point will probably be NATO, and with the backing of the United States, of course. We hope, and at this end, right, from the United States point of view, we really hope that we don't have the United States employ 100% of our forces against Russia. We don't want to get to that point.
Yeah, that would not be. I don't want to. Because if we, and you and I agree, if we entangle ourselves with a large country like Russia, it weakens our position with China 100%. So I mean, we right now we actually hold a big card not doing that. Also we have a little bit going on in Kazakhstan, and I just wanted to mention it because I believe this plays a little bit into the ideology of what's going on in that region of the country. Kazakhstan. Most people, we say Kazakhstan. Most people don't realize this is the 9th largest country in the world, and it's the largest landlocked country in the world. But it borders the entire southern body of Russia itself, and there's a lot of turmoil going on there. A lot of corruption has been brought to light, and the people are unhappy. And Russia brought in troops to quell that riot. So they genuinely, it seems to me, they still control that part of the region and have a big play in what's going on there. And I'm my deal is, where do they stand? Where do the people of Kazakhstan stand? I mean, I know there's only 18 million people that live in this huge and vast country. What part are we? What is going on there?
Well, Kazakhstan is a whole different ballgame. I mean, the country or the politics in Kazakhstan has been aligned with Russia's influence sphere since '91, since they became a country, since Kazakhstan became a country. So it hasn't been all roses since they broke out of the Soviet Union. However, the people now are revolting because the situation there, they just had enough. The prices of the gas went up, and that was really the tipping point, right? The politics, the corrupt politics that have been around for such a long time, are still there, and so I think somebody, maybe some foreign country, may have some push in there to get the people to go out to the streets and revolt against the government for obvious reasons, right? But it was about to explode. It was going to happen regardless. But the situation with Kazakhstan is they're a weaker country, meaning that they're more vulnerable and they have a better susceptibility to become part of the Union again, or the Soviet Union, or Russia's Soviet Union, if you will. But there's so much invested in the United States there, billions and billions of dollars with the gas companies and everything, that it makes it hard for Kazakhstan to just simply tip over. But we'll see. We're also watching that with our magnifying glass.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot going on in the world. You know, I look at Ukraine, I look at Kazakhstan. Both of these countries, they have an incredible amount of natural resources. Both of them, Kazakhstan itself, I think it's one of the largest producers of uranium in the world, which is very important for all. Also, a lot of oil, also a lot of other minerals that are there. You know, so these places, they hold you know, they're very important to the world's resources as a whole. And I think it's very important that we continue to educate ourselves about what's going on in these different regions, understand what's happening, and be involved and try to get a good working knowledge. And I appreciate you coming on and telling us a little bit about what's happening. Next, I have one other question for you. When the hostages were released, nothing was really said. Was the ransom paid in in Haiti?
No, that's still ongoing. As a matter of fact, yeah. I was just looking into that this morning because we're doing some business in Haiti, my company, and so we wanted to see what the situation is there. And
so they just released them, and they didn't take any, and they didn't get any money.
Exactly.
Wow. What happened there? Whoever negotiated that, I need that negotiator.
Yeah, obviously there was some kind of deal that was done.
A deal? You think there was a deal?
They have to be. They can't. They had the upper hand. The gang members had the upper hand. You know, they have them in their country. They had all the autonomy there. So.
All right, Sergeant Major. I'll tell you what. When you get some more information about what's going on in the world, and you have something you want to throw down on us, man, you make sure you let us know. We're going to have you on again next month to find out what's going on in the world. We appreciate your knowledge, your working knowledge of what's going on out there. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you, and I'm lucky to be here every single time you guys ask me to come back. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant Major. All right, well, that was Sergeant Major Bonilla letting us know what's going on in the world, what's happening, and how it's going to affect us. With that, we'll come right back. And, oh, no, it is Phrase That Pays time, isn't it? Oh, let's take a break, and then we'll come back and do the Phrase That Pays. Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better. The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road. You got to be prepared to stop. And when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights. You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today. All right, everybody, and welcome back to BCB Live. What we're going to do now is we're going to try to find a way to give away some cash, cold, hard cash, to somebody out there that knows the phrase that pays. Producer, find us a person that knows the phrase that pays. It's going to be an easy one today. I got a feeling the first person out of the chute's going to know what we're doing.
All right. Well, Norman Sellers, can you give us
Come
that
on, Norman.
phrase
I got
that
you.
pays,
Come on.
sir?
I got $100 with your name all over it.
Norman Sellers, do you got that phrase that pays, sir? Norman.
All right. That is, I'm going to go ahead and call that strike one. We're moving on to number 2.
All right, we got Charlie Crawford. Charlie Crawford,
All right,
do you know
Charlie,
that
what's
phrase
going
that
on,
pays,
Charlie?
sir?
I know you know this.
Mr. Crawford, can you unmute your mic for us and give
us
us that phrase that pays?
Make yourself green.
You know, I'm spinning the wheel here, and funnily enough, it landed on Sir Rick, so we're just gonna move past that one so that it doesn't go
He
right
doesn't
back.
know the phrase of pays either.
He does not need to. He probably would miss it, and you know what? I don't want to give the money right
Let's
back
go.
there.
Let's
So
see. We're not giving it to Sir Rick. Let's
All
find. Spin the wheel.
Todd Bridges, do you know that?
Come
phrase
on,
that pays
Todd.
less?
What's going on, Todd? I saw your posting on Safety Strike Day with the glass holder. That was pretty funny. How you doing today?
And if you are in a safe position to do so, as in not driving, you can also type that out into the question mark box there, and I will read it over and see if it's correct. So if you guys are not driving and you got called on, feel free to raise your hand and get that there. So Todd, I see you have your hand up. You should be able to unmute your mic there.
All right, Todd. I tell you what, I would wait on you until the sun went down, but not on the show. I'm gonna go strike three. That saves it for next week. Live sooner, drive slower. Leave sooner, drive slower, live longer. Leave sooner, drive slower, live longer. Pretty self-explanatory on that. Give yourself plenty of time to get out there so you don't have to hurry, rush, and guess what? That will help you not to endanger the lives of yourself or anybody else out there on the road. That is what the phrase that pays. We will be at $200 next week, and when we come back, buckle up. Bob will go over traffic and weather and give you some much-needed information about the storms coming this weekend. Talk to you later.
Watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News down in Texas. We're going to talk a little bit about this. We had another $1.5 million seizure. If ever there's a time to do a pre or post trip, it's if you're doing something wrong. Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob. You can kind of see where the visibility can be compromised a little bit. Again, right where that rain is.
And most importantly, safety. One of the things that we must do is make sure that safety is the number one thing that we focus on.
Going into an intersection, yellow is not the way. That's to clear an intersection, not to enter an intersection.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
Hey, good morning on this Friday. Welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. It is Buckle Up Bob, and we're going to get started off with a little traffic before we get into the big topic of the day, which is going to be some weather. Right now, the commutes, it's just typical rush hour traffic for the DFW area. Not bad, not great. A little bit of a problem here at the 820 20 merge point to 287 as it comes south. This is a nightmare, especially on sunny days for the westbound traffic, which is exactly where this slowdown is. So again, they hit that sun field. It's just a nightmare. You've got to really slow down. Keep plenty of space. There's going to be people weaving in and out, not being able to see due to that sun field. You know, it's one of the things that when you're out there, you know, the situational and too fast for conditions. Nobody ever thinks when it's sunny that can be a hazard, and it can be when you're heading in the morning, westbound, and in the evening when you're heading eastbound into that sun. So be mindful of that. 183 up here near Irving also has a little bit of a slowdown. That is in the westbound lane also. And then on the eastern side of the 635 loop, we have a couple spots. So you're looking at about 5-10 minute delays in there. And then, of course, the downtown area, which you always want to avoid in Dallas. You always want to kind of take the loops around because they are your best bet. And they look pretty good this morning as you start your commute in the DFW area. As we get to Houston 45, a little bit of a slowdown here south of the Loop E. And then the rest of the loop looks pretty good. Somerset Green here, 290 and 10 merge point. A little bit of a backup. Downtown area has some issues. But all in all, not too bad. The loop looks pretty clear. A little bit of a problem here at 288. the South Freeway as you come up into the Houston downtown area. So, but all in all, Houston, you look pretty good this morning. As we go into Kansas City had an issue yesterday in the afternoon, but it looks like everything's clear. You look great again for your morning commute. 49 coming up from the south looks good. 35 passing through south and the north area looks good, as well as 70 coming through. And the loop, the outer loop looks great. 435 looks just phenomenal. Nothing really going on in the Kansas City area today. That's going to change in the next 24 to 48 hours, folks, as the weather moves in. As we get to Chicago, look great all week. And again, even looks, I think, even a little bit better than yesterday. So again, Chicago, great job out there all week this week. Again, 80, 90 coming across Indiana into Illinois looks great. 55 up Bolingbrook, Plainfield, no issues there. 88 in Aurora and Naperville, clear. And 90 near Elgin and Schaumburg, all look good. As well as the northern connectors coming down from Wisconsin. Y'all look, this looks great this morning, Chicago. So, hey, enjoy your commute, enjoy the day. Be patient out there and keep your spacing. Oh, boy. Atlanta looks horrible. Again, it's usually never good. This morning, it's just horrible, folks. I mean, there's just nothing good going on for you except down here by the airport, and that's not a big area. Again, the loop is bad. The highways coming in look bad. The downtown area, really dark maroon, so we've probably got some big accidents. 85 coming southbound is backed up all the way past Pleasant Hill and this 316 merger point. So again, you got to look at a different route. It may be your best bet is to drop down here to 78 and come down to the loop, or get off and go up to Duluth and go around maybe 120 and then drop down, possibly, because this red line here is the northbound lane. So you might have a pretty clear thing going. Once you get past Sandy Springs, your west and southbound lanes look pretty clear till you get a little bit of a slowdown down here on the westbound lane. But other than that, you've got pretty good movement on the westbound lane or the southbound lanes of, if you will, of the 285 loop. Again, it's just a mess. Downtown's a mess. Sandy Springs all the way over here at 285. The only place that looks pretty good is the southbound edge. And again, the southbound lanes look good as you come down from Clarkson and around as well. You'll run into a little bit of a slowdown here at 285. If 6 is a truck route, that might be your best bet, is to come up here and then take 6 on up to 20. I'm not sure if that's a truck route or not, but you all know that better than I do. So just be ready for that as well. But Atlanta, you got some issues this morning. Be patient, everybody. If you're going in the Atlanta area, let your company know you're going to be late. You got to pack that patience and keep that space and just always yield the right of way. The best thing you can do in these heavy traffic areas when it's this bad, just yield the right of way. Be prepared to yield the right of way. Let them in. They're going to squeeze in anyway, and you just don't want to delay yourself even further by having an accident. We never went back from yesterday. I was like, what are we looking at Harrisburg for? Reading, and then down here should be Philadelphia. There we are. Wow, Philly looks pretty good this morning, folks. The Turnpike, spots, but not solid all the way back to Conshohocken. Little bit of a spot here on 95 along the river. So again, you look really great. New Jersey side looks phenomenal. Just not a lot of issues. Just going to have some little bit of a slowdown here and there. It doesn't look like anything's going to be more than 5-10 minutes tops, if that. But you are going to have to be patient, because you're going to see where you stop for a little bit, then it goes for maybe a half a mile to a mile, then it starts to back up a little bit. So you do have a lot of patient moments that you're going to have to keep that spacing and speed and be ready for. But if everybody's patient, it'll just move things along quicker and safer for you this morning in the Philadelphia area. We look at Nashville. Nashville looks really good. I mean, we're usually way back down here. We just got a little bit of a section here by, is that Stonecrest? Or Stone Ridge? No, up here by Antioch. A little bit of a backup. That is on the northbound lane. Everything else was good. Just a small little, what you expect at the merge points. As we shared, remember yesterday, merge points make up for less than 5% of the miles on the roadways, but 20 to 30% of big truck accidents happen at these merge points. That's why we talk a lot about, no matter who's got the right of way, if you're in the defensive position of always yielding it, it is very hard for you to have an accident. And then, of course, the typical southbound direction from 24 to 65 merge point, always a little bit of a backup there. But the loop looks phenomenal. 40 passing through looks good. You just look good all the way around Nashville this morning. As we get into the D.C. area, D.C. looks great, as does Baltimore. I mean, it really does. You just got a few 10-minute spot here at Silver Spring and up at Parkville, Towson. But the connecting highways look pretty good. A little bit of a 5-minute slowdown there, maybe at Jessup. But really not too bad. Silver Spring and Towson and Parkville is going to be your major slowdown. Most of the arteries are really good. 95 up here by Lake Ridge and Dale City. You're going to have a little bit of 10-minute backup there possibly as you come into Lorton. And again, you see all the merge points. So that's usually where you're going to see a little bit of slowdown. It takes a little bit of patience for yourselves. But the loops all look great in the D.C. and the Baltimore area this morning. Indianapolis, again, a lot like Kansas City. You're always shocked if there's anything going on. Indianapolis was great. I mean, there's just not much, just very little. If there's 5 minutes, that's tops, slowdowns. But you just see it's pretty much green. The loop looks good. All the major arteries, 65, 74, 69, they all look good, as does 70, passing through the downtown area from the east and the west in Indianapolis this morning. As we go to our weather, okay, what we're going to see, let's start out with, before we get to the big thing, let's look at the temperatures. And then what we want to show you is what's going to happen tomorrow. You can see a cold front drop down. 40s is supposed to be the high in the DFW area. The winds are supposed to pick up as well, and boom, there you got it. You can see all the way up into Kansas. So again, set up some Geo Fences. If your company, talk to your company about it. But we have some Geo Fences set up, warning about the winter weather that I'm going to show you in a minute. But we're also going to be adding one today for the winds for tomorrow. You can see Dallas could see some 47-mile-an-hour gusts. So as this cold front whips down, again, for the next several days, going to be really on the chilly side, 40s, 50s in Texas. And you can see the wind stretch. Oklahoma City, potentially 53-mile-an-hour gusts. Drivers, you cannot drive above 40-some miles per hour. You are at a huge risk of a blowover, rollover. Does not matter how heavy you are. Again, if it's under 40, you really got to reduce your speeds. You got to get it down to about 50 to 55 miles an hour to be the safest out there and avoid the risk. That takes a lot of patience on your part, but if you want to move and you're heavy and the winds aren't over 40, you can do it safely if you just get settle in on the fact that you're going to have to go really slow. But again, we're going to see some winds tomorrow. Now, these winds start to kick up. Wow. They're going to kick up to this evening. So you can see as the day goes, we got some wind. So let's see what we got going on right now then. We need to kind of check some of these areas out. South Dakota, 59-mile-an-hour gusts already reported. Okay? So again, here Oklahoma, 28-mile-an-hour gusts. That is going to do nothing but get worse. So if you're in the Denver area, it's 22 there, 36-mile-an-hour gusts. So again, we're already in the 30s. You've got to slow it down, 50 to 55, in that range. Closer to 50, the better. Always remember, folks, understand that we have a higher opinion of ourselves and that we think we're better than what we are, and there's nothing wrong with that. You kind of got to have that little swagger, but you also got to realize it can be a weakness. Whatever you think the safest speed is, I can't impress upon you enough. Take it down another 5 to 10, and you are going to be much closer to what the actual safest speed is. So again, we've got some winds coming up, already started in the Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska area. Nebraska, 32 miles an hour gusts as well. So just be mindful, and we'll go through it again here just so any of you can see. By 5 p.m., you can see this moves into the panhandles, all of western Kansas, the western half of Kansas, the eastern third of Colorado from Denver basically to the state line, starts to reach into New Mexico. This is all by 5 p.m. tonight. As we get to midnight, which typically winds die down, they do not, right? We are going to shift into Nebraska. They start to die down in Dakota and Wyoming, South Dakota, but you can see all of Kansas, all of Nebraska, pretty much 3/4 of Texas. You might as well say all of Oklahoma City or Oklahoma, and then the eastern third of New Mexico. And then tomorrow at 6 a.m., you can see all of Texas, all of Oklahoma, all of Kansas. Nebraska again starts to reach into Missouri. And then tomorrow afternoon, boom, okay? It really gets focused, stays in Texas, Oklahoma, southern Kansas. So the big states are going to be Oklahoma, Kansas. Remember, you're going to see here in a minute what's following this, what this is bringing in, is going to be that snowfall. So remember, we started with the winds today. You can see them up here, and there's been some bigger numbers changed. So the winds have already kicked up in the last 5 minutes. We had 138. Now we've got a 47-mile-an-hour gust. We have a 46 in Wyoming. So you can see the winds just in the last 5 minutes have already changed and started kicking up in there. And what this is doing, this is bringing in the snow. So what we're going to see here, oops, sorry, you can see that wind is going to bring in that snow. We're going to see right here by 3 p.m., you're going to start seeing it hit Iowa, South Dakota, southern Minnesota. As you get into the midnight hour, see? So the wind is coming. I'm sorry, I said it was bringing it in. It's pushing it in, it looks like. Because you can see the winds are all coming in here behind this weather system. So the snow and stuff is right behind it. You have some major winds. So what does that mean? That's going to mean some blowing snow, drifting. I know growing up in Illinois a lot, the snow wasn't the problem usually. It was the winds behind it that usually we got drifting snow, which was really the hazard in most of the snowfall areas. And I think you're going to see that in Iowa, northern Missouri, and Illinois as the weekend goes. Now, as we go into Saturday around, I'll just kind of keep it at 1 p.m. to give you 24-hour updates. You can kind of see they have shrunk the amount, it looks like. The areas were bigger yesterday. So that's a good sign. Now, the Geo Fences we have, again, they're covering all the areas just so that you're warned. Of course, if there's no snow on the ground, let your DM know, your driver manager, your company know, and keep moving. But if there is even light snow, you have to slow down, not do the speed limit, because there's going to be those patches that you just don't see or expect. So as we move in, let's see what we're going to get if that freezing rain is still expected. So far, so good. You can see a much better. It looks like they're now forecasting a lot of rain. But, oh, there it is. Nope, it's still there with the freezing rain. Again, Sunday morning, after midnight, about 2 or 3 in the morning, we're going to see a lot of potential freezing rain in the Carolinas. You can see is the big part. Atlanta, up northern part. You got spots here in the western tip of Virginia into the West Virginia, eastern part of Kentucky, Nashville area. Could see some ice pellets. That's what this brown section is. And then the pink is the freezing rain. So, man, it's going to be right on that cusp. You know what, folks? If you can, let your company know, don't drive on ice. It's not worth it. There is nothing worth your life out there. Nothing at all. If you get a good parking spot, sit it out. Wait it, okay? As we go into 5 p.m. tomorrow night, again, it still got the freezing rain changes, but you can see more snow starts to develop as the temperatures drop. And then when we come back on Monday, you can see the snow in West Virginia. Let's get that off of there. And you see New York and everywhere, western Pennsylvania, West Virginia. D.C. area is going to have that mix for our commute on Monday, so expect a lot of problems in the D.C. area. Hey, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with some safety.
All right, and welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. We got a lot of weather going on this weekend, as you demonstrated. What are we talking about today?
The sign on your shirt versus the sign on my shirt. Which is better?
Slowing down the speed limit.
Obeying the speed limit. I agree, but I still like old Snoopy. Hey, I'm going to put you on the spot. We talk about this subject in our 5th tip, too fast for conditions this week. What would you guess, Dave? We talk about it a lot. It has a lot of people involved.
Traffic?
Pedestrians, potential.
Work
zones.
Okay, got it.
Work zones. Sorry, I put you on the spot. Didn't help you out there. Nearly a quarter of all work zone deaths. So people that die in the work zones involve a large truck. That is alarming. 25%. And all it takes is slowing down, right? Drive safe.
Right.
You know, so before entering a work zone, you got to decrease your speed. Pay attention to the signs, folks. Merge into the correct lane. We've seen that a little bit yesterday on a video where the driver got in the center lane at merge points. Same thing for a construction zone. Merge early. Yes, people are going to come up and squeeze, but you just got to have the patience. You're not going anywhere anyway, and you're not going to lose the time or the distance you think you're going to. And then always, this is where I think a lot of drivers just let the ball down, and we see it not just in work zones, but at merge points and at traffic lights. You must be prepared to stop. It's probably going to happen in some cases, and it happens a lot more than you have to. I think if the drivers would share, they would probably say, yeah, a lot of times I have to actually almost come to a stop in a work zone, especially if it's really busy and there's trucks going in and out, hauling in supplies. We do have some videos, some alarming ones today. Here, this is just unacceptable. Unfortunately, cannot get any identification number off of this truck. Look at that. Man, I guarantee you that four-wheeler is scared. I know I would be. At night, you got nothing but them lights that look like they are on your rear, in your back seat almost, if you will. Look at that. Count that second. You don't even got like a tenth of a second, do you, drive safe?
He's blinking him too.
Yeah. Oh, I missed that.
No, watch this again. Watch what happens when they come up on the left. Watch what happens to the headlights of the big truck right there. He's blinking.
Oh, he sure did.
He's telling him, push him over. Get over. I want by.
And folks, a reminder, we shared this several months ago. In most states, flashing your lights like that is a sign of aggressive driving and can be cited and fined. If there's an accident here and it comes out, this driver could face a lot of issues with not only with the lawsuits, but the aggressive driving as well. Here again, really good job, but staying back. Folks, remember, if you make a mistake, just stay there. Look how close. It's hard to see, but you see at the end that guardrail with that sign, very close to having a major accident here. And it's just about planning and making up your mind. If you get indecisive, just stay what you were going to do. Right? A lot of this can be avoided with just some planning. You've got to know your routes. It's okay that you get in an area that you're not familiar with. But before you get to that area, pull over and have a plan. This one I am working on. We're trying to get it. Looks like Amazon hired a outside broker. Next level is all I can get. I do have the trailer number, but you can see passing in an entrance ramp that disappears. And look, it's already starting to disappear. And there's the sign, and the guy's still out there and doesn't back off and get behind. And then is passing on the shoulder. Absolutely unacceptable, unsafe. This is what we got to get out of our industry. Again, folks, prepare to stop. You must be prepared to stop. Look at the traffic. Speed's not bad, and the light's yellow now. A little bit of a late yellow. But if we're prepared to stop, that's not an issue. Remember, this isn't about right or wrong. This is about protecting life. We know intersections are dangerous. You see the construction. You must be slowing down to prepare to stop. It almost looked like we were going to kind of try to swerve out in that lane for just a little bit and at least thought better of that. But right here, start to slow down, increase your space, and be prepared to stop. You can see the intersection is really busy. It's been green a while. In this whole video, it's been green. You know it's going to change. In fact, the odds are it will change on you. Just be prepared to stop. Here, folks, yards, don't take them for granted. Stop means stop. Again, with the new technology, this will hit your scorecard, your driver scorecard. It reads them stop signs. You can see all these trailers parked. You got to play that what if. We haven't played what if in a while. What if a yard truck comes around the front edge of this trailer and you're rolling through a stop sign, right? You can't see people. There's things out there. This yard looks pretty. The vision is blocked a lot. It looks like a pretty busy yard. Make sure that you just obey the traffic signs and make sure that you come to a complete stop. Here, U-turns are never safe. I've yet to see one that's safe. Just make sure. Looks like there's plenty of room to go up and around. Don't know what this driver was doing or where they're going.
They're coming this way.
I know. But this is one of those weird ones where is there only one in and out? If there is, then there's got to be a way to go up and around and turn around, right? Drive safe? Because everybody has to be able to get out of there. And you can see trucks parked on the right there facing that way, so and other trucks going farther down. So there's got to be a way just to swing around and come back out safely. Don't make the U-turns, folks. Patience. All that is just impatience.
Yeah, taking your time and knowing your surroundings. Traffic signs. I wear them every day. They're meant to be paid attention to. They're meant to be obeyed. They're not suggestions.
No.
They're the rules of the road at the time you're driving. That is they implore new rules as you drive. A speed limit sign changes as you go down the road, but it starts a new rule that you must adhere to. When you see a stop sign, whether it be in a parking lot, whether it be on a yard, whether it be out there, your job is to stop. It's not a suggestion. It's not, hey, maybe if you want to, if you can, or if it seems convenient. It's not about that at all. It's about doing the right thing when you do it. And I'm telling you, when you see these stop signs, they're put there for a reason. That yard put those there because of certain things maybe have happened before on the yard. They've designed it that way. They've done it to create a better and safer environment. And by you disregarding those measures, you're telling them that their safety measures aren't important and that you don't have any. You've got to obey these stop signs. Stop.
Yeah.
You were doing 3 miles an hour anyway. What were you going to lose? 7 seconds?
Not even.
Honestly. You weren't going. They weren't going fast at all.
No.
It's not like y'all were at breakneck speed, and I wouldn't want you to be, but rolling them is not stopping. And we've got to realize that if you do it there, you'll do it anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Right? If you're going to roll stop signs there, you're going to roll stop signs everywhere. If you stop at stop signs, then you're a stop sign stopper, right? Then you stop at stop signs.
You are correct. And I'd say from years of coaching kids, one of the things we always said, you will play how you practice.
100%
You will always do it. So if you practice bad plays and bad habits, that's what's going to creep up to you in a game. Same thing in your driving habits. When you do these ones, yes, there's nobody around, but they creep in and then you start. It amazes me when I talk to drivers, how many of them say, well, there was nobody around. Well, that doesn't make it legal.
No,
the signs are there, the stripes are there, everything's there because they want you to stop.
Nobody was looking. Nobody was looking.
It's okay if nobody catches me.
Look, we're here to create a new way, a new purpose, and a new passion for safety. And by doing that, we have to understand that there are certain things that we've got to change, not only in ourselves, our new driving habits, but also the way we're perceived out there on the road. Passing on that right shoulder and that you showed earlier today. That's just stupid, right? Yeah. And it makes it difficult for everybody. And you know what? Four-wheelers out there say, oh, well, there's another truck driver. That's just another.
Yes.
And rarely do you ever. What's sad is when they talk to us when on the news and stuff like that, they'll mention, hey, there was an accident with an 18-wheeler, not between two people.
Yeah.
But they'll mention an 18-wheeler. That because of what it is, they're isolating it and they're labeling it, and they want to identify it as different.
Correct. And the movement is you got to change 50 years of this perception, and that's hard. but you all can do it. We've seen some great videos.
Absolutely.
Each and every one of you has a responsibility. We have a responsibility. This year, from our side point of the action item is when we got the identification numbers, we're going to get a hold of these companies. Now, they may not do anything, but we are going to push the issue to make this industry safer. Just like that Amazon trailer, that was not an Amazon driver. They probably hired power only. And so we're going to get with them, and they can find out who it was because they shouldn't have that guy driving for them.
Yeah, and I understand that. So we're going to try to change the industry inside and out and do everything that we can, and we're going to start it right here. Hey,
yes,
Bob, you want to go ahead and close us with a prayer?
Absolutely. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, you are our almighty God and Father and Protector, Lord. We come to you with humble hearts, and we ask for that protection for each and every driver out there that's delivering the goods, keeping this country in business, afloat, alive, if you will, surviving, Lord. But we also ask that all the vehicles out there yield the right of way, Heavenly Father. Make that good decision to just protect the precious life. Lord, let us keep our faith and our focus on you, not the world, not the loads, not our paychecks, not anything but you, Lord. When we do that, we humble ourselves, and then we do the right thing, Lord. Continue to bless this company, bless all of its drivers and their families. And it's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
All right, everybody. We'll see you this afternoon. Have a great and safe day, and be mindful of what's going on out there on the road for each and everybody. We'll talk to you later.